Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in. I've been having so much fun kind of brainstorming ideas and really changing the direction of this channel. And today, I just want to jump right in. There's so much to cover, but as you can tell from the title of the video, this is reading and more importantly, understanding ingredient lists. This is one of the first things that you really need to start focusing on as a formulator or just as somebody who cares about what they are using, because ingredient lists tell you so much, but they also require a bit of research. And what I hope to do here is I hope to let you know kind of how to read it. If you don't know how to read the ingredient list at all, this is a good place to start. What to look for in your ingredient list that you're looking at, and maybe then how you can start formulating them. So let's just get going. So I have two stories to tell you throughout this video. The first one I want to tell you is the kind of the crux, the main part of this video really. So a while back I was talking to my mom, who has been trying some of my products that I'm making. Of course, like friends and family are your biggest trier-outers. There's got to be a better word for that. Guinea pigs. There you go. They are your biggest guinea pigs when you are starting to formulate. And of course my mom, she lives close by, so I could give her stuff to try out. So she was telling me that her dermatologist had recommended, what was it? Let me see. I wrote it down because I'm not going to remember. Neutrogena Ultra Sheer Dry Touch SPF 55. And obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but she wears sunscreen every day, and her dermatologist recommended that she use that, and also that it would act as moisturizer. So she had kind of a one-stop shop. Put that on, moisturizer, SPF, boom, done. And my mom has dry skin, so do I. So she'd been doing that for years and years and years. So when I offered her one of my moisturizers, she was kind of like, what step do I do? Because I've been doing them as an all-in-one for so long. So do I do the SPF or then that? And so I said, well, first off, can you tell me the name of your SPF? Because I was kind of curious to see, like, wow, this SPF is working as a moisturizer and a sunscreen. Like, don't we all want that? So she told me the name of it, which I just told you guys, and I will post it above. And then I did a little research. I did all this research, actually. What I did was I took every ingredient, because they have to, by law, list all the ingredients, and I wrote them down. And then one of my favorite websites, which I will list below, is called INCI Decoder, INCI Decoder. And basically you can enter in the INCI name, which is International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. That was hard for me to say, way too hard. So you enter the INCI name into the little search bar, and then it tells you kind of in plain English what it is. So that's a great place to start, and that's exactly what I did. I also used a few other websites, which I will list below. Paula's Choice has a really good kind of search option with all of the ingredients, and they tell you, they kind of just break it down in plain English. And then Humble Bee and Me also has a dictionary, which is super helpful, but I will list those in the description box below. Okay, so I'm not going to go through every ingredient because there are 20 ingredients, and if you are interested in having this document, I have it saved, so maybe I'll try to find a way to put it in the description box, but it's kind of specific to this product. But I wanted to kind of go through them with you just to show you that my suspicion was that this product wasn't doing what she thought it was, and I was pretty frustrated with her dermatologist after I read through all the ingredients, because it's a pretty bold claim to say this is an SPF 55, which is pretty high, and a moisturizer for dry skin. Like, to me, I was like, either you found the miracle holy grail product or someone does not really know what they're talking about. And I hate to say that about a dermatologist, but it's pretty clear in my research that none of these ingredients are really moisturizing. But if you look at this list, and I will try to find a way to put it, there's nothing on here that's like, this is a humectant, this is a moisturizing, nourishing agent, something like that. A lot of them have maybe some bonus that they'll help the skin feel nice. Dimethicones give it kind of like that silky smooth feeling, but there's nothing in this list where it was like, clearly this has been put into the formula to give moisturizing and nourishing properties. So I sent it to my mom and I was like, I don't think you should stop using it if you want to continue using this sunscreen, but don't use it as a 2-in-1 because you're not getting what you paid for. And then you're wondering why your skin is dry. So this example is why I'm telling you reading ingredients is super important, and it's something that takes time. Another thing to think about when you're looking at the INCI names is do not be scared because you see a long kind of chemically looking name. Well, everything is a chemical, so you can say like I don't want chemicals, but if you drink water, you're drinking a chemical. I hate that. But don't be scared of it. But something like vitamin E is actually called tocopherol. I think that's how you pronounce it. So it may look scary, but it's vitamin E and it's a good thing for you. Same with alcohol. I know there's kind of been a push that like alcohol free, it's going to be drying, but not all alcohols are drying for your skin. If you want to watch a good video, Kenna, she is a biochemist. She has one. I will try to link that below, and it goes all into how to determine which alcohols are good, which maybe aren't. But, you know, they serve different purposes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you see something like cetyl alcohol, it's actually a fatty alcohol. It's good for you, and it helps bring body to an emulsion. So it's not something like you just see it and you say, no, I'm not going to buy that. So keep that in mind. One of the other things that I really want people to start looking into is when you see some big flashy words on the packaging. So you may see something on the packaging like green tea and aloe and all these other things that like they sound really great. They're extracts, they're natural. And then if you go to the ingredient list, they are near the bottom. That means that they are putting it in. They're not lying to you. They're just putting it in at really, really small amounts. And likely you're not going to be getting the benefits from those ingredients that you want or that you've kind of been promised. So keep that in mind. Another thing, and this is personal, so there's no way to say it enough, but everyone's skin is different. Everyone's skin, depending on what they eat, is different. Depending on the time of year is different. Depending on if they're pregnant or not, or, you know, all these other factors. Everyone's skin is different. So look for ingredients if you know your skin, like you have an allergy to certain things, or you just know that your skin doesn't interact well with it. Obviously, that's a good place to start. And I find that is why and how people really start reading ingredient lists, because they have something that their body either can't process or just doesn't like, and that's what they look for. And then it's also important to use that as a stepping stone. So you can look for one thing that maybe you don't like, but then also use it for other things that you know your body loves. For me, for example, I've had dry skin my whole life. I used to have a patch up here that was really dry. And when I started getting into skincare, I started looking at the ingredients and the products I was using. More often than not, even if it was a high-end thing that was like I spent way too much money on, one of the first ingredients was water. And I'm not saying water is a bad thing. I pretty much all of my emulsions use water in some form or fashion because you just do need it. But if you're putting 90% water in, you're not going to be getting the moisture that you need from it, especially for dry skin. I'm not saying if you see a product with water as the first ingredient to not buy it. Just keep in mind that is something that they do. They use fillers, they use really cheap ingredients that don't necessarily harm your skin, but you're not getting what you paid for. So for me personally, I actually, when I formulate, I use a lot of aloe, I use a lot of juices, so like fruit juices. So you're getting really good properties from those ingredients, and you're still getting the same consistency of water. So you don't have to just put water, it's just cheaper and it's a filler. And part of what I do when I formulate is I try to avoid that. Another thing to keep in mind is if you see things like active ingredients, and you maybe sometimes they put it in like little paragraphs with I'm just going to go with green tea again because it's on my mind. Green tea, and it tells you like what the benefits of that are, and then they'll list maybe a few. Those are considered their active ingredients. I say it with air quotes because it doesn't, they could just be saying that. Don't just read it and take it in blindly. And if they don't list anything else, you could be kind of thrown off because you think, well, hey, they're only using 5 ingredients and they're all really wonderful and I love the sound of them and they're all natural. That is not always the case. So make sure you look, it might be like a small link below or somewhere else. There should always be a full ingredient list. If you do not see a full ingredient list and it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So going back, I mentioned this a little bit before, how everything is listed in order of most to least on your ingredient list. Now, something to keep in mind, and this is not 100% of the case all the time, but the first 5 ingredients on the list are usually the highest amount in the product. So you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and after that, everything 6 and under, again, not 100% of the time, but this is kind of a general rule. Everything under is going to be in your lower amounts. Most preservatives are going to be 1% or less. Now, that's not always the case. I've used some preservatives that say 4%. Another thing to keep in mind, so we have the first 5 ingredients, which make up the bulk of the product, and then preservatives usually 1% or less. Fragrances are also 1% or less. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't still be sensitive to fragrances, but just keep in mind that you're never going to see the fragrance at the very top of the list. And if you do, probably just run away from that one. So, one last thing about the ingredient list. At the bottom of it, you may see what are called as known allergens. These typically come from essential oils. So you might see linalool. I have a hard time saying that one. Or geranol. These, I will put them on the screen because I have a hard time saying some of them. Jeez, it's like you got to go to school just to learn how to say some of these products. But again, these are known allergens, and they are from typically essential oils. And when you start formulating, you will learn that you actually have dermal limits. So most people, if they're following good practice, they will only use a certain amount of essential oil. So they are mainly there just to add a fragrance to your product. But at the same time, say I'm using lavender essential oil, I have a guideline, which is from the course that I took, that tells me how much, and there's a whole calculation that you do, but basically how much you can use for anything that's going on your face. Usually if it's for your body, the limit is a little bit higher, but that comes into play, and hopefully that the products that you are purchasing, people know the dermal limits. For the known sensitizers and fragrances, they do not have to be listed in order of amount. They can be listed in any order, but they typically are at the bottom of the list. So those are the main things that you should know so you can read and understand the ingredient labels. Okay guys, so that is pretty much it. There's a lot to cover. I hope this wasn't too much information, but it's one of the most important things that you learn, either as just a consumer or as somebody who wants to make products one day. Obviously, if you're making products, you need to know your ingredients, and you need to know kind of eventually, if you're going to sell them, how you list them and all these other things. And it goes a lot deeper, but that I think covers the basics. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed looking at this sheet, which I hopefully was able to list below, let me know if there's something that you want me to kind of decode and decipher for you. I'd be happy to do that. It's actually a really fun thing for me, and I know there's some products out there that maybe it's like some big brand like Drunk Elephant that you're wondering, should I plop down $80 for this? I'm happy to decode the ingredients. So let me know in the comments below, and make sure to like and subscribe. It does help me out moving in this new direction. I need all the help I can get. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.